You believe that staying silent will make her restless, wondering what you're doing, and eventually crawling back to you. But here's the harsh truth. Your silence is probably doing the opposite. Instead of drawing her closer, it's pushing you further into the background of her mind, where you slowly fade into irrelevance. Silence, on its own, is not power. It's a tool that only works when it's used with the right timing, the right presence, and the right personal value to back it up. Without these, your silence isn't mysterious. It's just empty space she quickly learns to ignore. Number 1. She has gotten too used to the silent game. She has seen it before, countless times. Different men, different faces, the same tired strategy. Silence. In today's world, women are constantly surrounded by interactions. Text messages, social media notifications, dates, flings, talking stages. She doesn't just experience attention. She is flooded with it. And with that flood comes familiarity. She recognizes patterns. She has watched men try to play games. She has witnessed their attempts at being mysterious. And she knows exactly what's happening when you suddenly disappear, thinking you've discovered some hidden formula for attraction. To her, silence isn't shocking. It isn't rare. It isn't even interesting anymore. It's predictable. It's boring. And predictable is deadly when it comes to attraction. What makes something powerful is its rarity. What makes a move effective is its surprise. But silence? She has been trained by experience to expect it, which means your grand strategy is nothing more than another cliché she has already seen play out and dismissed 100 times. You imagine her staring at her phone, wondering why you haven't reached out. The reality? She shrugs. She knows this tactic. Maybe the last guy tried it. Maybe the guy before him. Maybe 10 guys before him. And every time it felt the same. Empty. Nothing in your silence makes her heart beat faster. Nothing in your absence forces her to reevaluate your value. In fact, your silence confirms what she already suspects, that you are just another man repeating the same tired script. This is where most men misunderstand the nature of power. Power doesn't come from doing what everyone else does. Power comes from differentiation, standing out, not blending in. If silence is just another recycled move, it fails to make you stand out. It makes you forgettable. Worse, silence used this way makes you appear unoriginal. When a woman sees a man imitate the exact same behavior she has seen in countless others, she doesn't respect it. She dismisses it. And once you're dismissed, it's nearly impossible to climb back up in her perception. She won't remember you as the man who controlled himself, who radiated strength. She'll remember you as the man who thought he was being clever, but wasn't. This is the brutal truth. Silence by itself is no longer special. It used to work decades ago, when scarcity of attention made absence feel dramatic. But in the modern dating market, absence is common. Men pull away all the time, either to manipulate or because they have nothing else to offer. Women are used to it. They are inoculated against it. And when something becomes ordinary, it loses all of its magic. If you rely on silence alone, she won't chase you. She won't miss you. She won't even think twice, because she's seen it before. And once something is predictable, it's powerless. Number 2, silence at the wrong time. Silence can be powerful, but only when it's delivered at the right time. The timing determines everything. If you go silent at the wrong moment, what you think is strength becomes sabotage. Imagine this. She's upset, emotional, or even reaching out for connection. That is the moment you choose to disappear. Do you think she interprets it as mystery? No, she interprets it as neglect. She sees it as abandonment. In her eyes, your silence isn't power, it's cruelty. And cruelty doesn't make her chase you. It makes her close the door. Timing is the hidden key that most men ignore. They believe silence is a universal trick, that it works no matter the situation. But attraction is fragile. One wrong move at the wrong moment can shatter everything. When she's still invested, still curious, a carefully executed silence can create tension and amplify desire. But when she's already pulling away or when she's in pain, silence looks like confirmation that you don't care. It feels like the final nail in the coffin. Worse, silence after conflict is almost always misread. You think you're holding frame, showing control. She sees a man too weak to communicate, too immature to face reality. Silence in the heat of conflict isn't dominance, it's avoidance. And avoidance never inspires respect. A man who understands timing knows when to step back and when to step forward. Silence isn't supposed to be a default setting. It's a weapon you deploy strategically. If you fire it at the wrong time, you wound yourself. Think about it. What makes silence powerful is the contrast. If you've been engaged, present, and then suddenly withdraw, the shift is noticeable. She feels the absence because she first felt the presence. But if you disappear at the very moment she needed your strength, then your silence doesn't create curiosity. It creates resentment. This is why men who use silence carelessly always lose. They don't read the moment. They don't understand the rhythm of attraction. They think any withdrawal is power. But power comes from precision, not laziness. And if your timing is off, your silence doesn't look like control. It looks like weakness wrapped in arrogance. Here's the brutal truth. Silence is not universal. Used at the wrong time, it destroys trust, kills attraction, and marks you as a man who doesn't know what he's doing. Used at the right time, it creates tension, amplifies your presence, and forces her to feel your absence. The difference is timing. Miss it, and you miss everything. Number 3, you stay silent, but you don't improve yourself during that time. Silence isn't just about what you withhold from her. It's about what you do with yourself during that silence. And this is where most men fail. They go silent, thinking that the act alone will create mystery. But behind the silence, nothing changes. Their lives stay stagnant. Their habits remain weak. Their energy doesn't grow. So when they finally reappear, they're the exact same man who left. No stronger, no sharper, no more valuable. Here's the problem. Silence without growth is not attractive. It's just absence. And absence without transformation is forgettable. Women don't miss the man who disappears and comes back identical. They forget him, because there is nothing new for her to discover, nothing that forces her to reframe her perception of him. True silence is supposed to create contrast. It's meant to highlight the difference between the man she last saw and the man who returns. If she left you when you were at level 1, but when she sees you again, you're at level 5, that gap shocks her system. She realizes you didn't just disappear, you evolved. That evolution is what makes silence powerful. But when you go silent and waste that time scrolling, sulking, or waiting for her to notice you, you're not mysterious. You're pathetic. You're proving that your world still revolves around her. And women can sense that. They can feel when a man has been using his time to grow and when he has been wasting it in limbo. Ask yourself, during your silence, did you build anything? Did you improve your health? Expand your skills? Increase your status? Or did you just vanish, hoping absence alone would do the work for you? Because absence by itself is worthless. Growth is what gives silence its teeth. A man who returns stronger commands respect. His silence feels intentional. It feels like discipline. A man who returns unchanged invites contempt. His silence feels like immaturity. It feels like a tantrum. The brutal truth is this: silence doesn't buy you power. What you do in the silence does. If you don't upgrade yourself, your silence is just wasted time. And wasted time never creates desire. Number 4. You don't have the core values to back up your silence. Silence is only as powerful as the man behind it. Without substance, silence collapses. It's not the absence of words that creates attraction. It's the weight of the man who withholds them. Here's the reality. When a high-value man goes silent, his silence speaks. It carries weight because it comes from someone who has demonstrated discipline, purpose, and presence. She knows he's not vanishing out of fear. He's not disappearing because he has nothing to say. He is silent because he chooses to be. And choice is what makes it powerful. But if you don't have any real value, your silence means nothing. Why would she miss you if you had nothing worth missing in the first place? Why would your absence sting if your presence was never impressive? Silence without value is emptiness, and emptiness doesn't attract. It repels. Women don't chase shadows, they chase gravity. A man of value has gravity. His silence pulls her thoughts back to him because she knows he stands for something bigger than her validation. A man without value has no gravity. His silence doesn't pull her in. It lets her drift away until he's completely forgotten. Think about this. If a king retreats into silence, the whole court notices. They feel his absence because his presence was undeniable. But if a beggar vanishes from the street, does anyone care? That's the difference. Silence works for kings, not for beggars. Too many men try to use silence as a shortcut to power, hoping that withholding words will compensate for the lack of value. But silence doesn't hide weakness. It exposes it. The more you try to lean on silence without substance, the more obvious your emptiness becomes. The brutal truth is this: silence is not a mask you can wear to look powerful. It is an amplifier. If you are strong, your silence makes you look unshakable. If you are weak, your silence makes you invisible. So before you use silence as a strategy, ask yourself, what is she supposed to feel in your absence? Respect, admiration, fear of losing you, or nothing at all? Because if the answer is nothing, then your silence is worthless. And worthless silence doesn't make her chase you. It makes her forget you. Number 5, you stay silent, but you still keep an eye on her. Silence is supposed to create distance. But when you go silent while still orbiting around her, watching her Instagram stories, liking her pictures, lurking on her profiles, you destroy the very illusion you're trying to build. You can't disappear and still cling at the same time. That contradiction doesn't make you mysterious. It makes you obvious. Women notice everything. Don't fool yourself into thinking she doesn't see your name pop up in her story views or your likes quietly sprinkled across her feed. To you, it feels harmless, maybe even invisible. To her, it's loud. It screams, "I'm pretending not to care, but I can't let go." And once she reads that message, your silence collapses. Instead of wondering where you are or why you're not reaching out, she knows exactly what's going on. You're watching her from the sidelines, desperate to stay connected without the courage to step forward. That's not power. That's weakness. Real power comes from consistency. If you choose silence, you must embody it fully. Disappear completely. Cut the thread. Let her feel the absence. Half silence is worse than no silence at all, because half silence tells her you want her attention, but don't know how to get it. It tells her you're caught between pretending indifference and craving validation. And that tension doesn't build attraction. It kills it. Think about it from her perspective. If a man truly had options, if he truly had self-control, would he be watching every move she posts online? Would he be hovering in the shadows, hoping she notices? No. A man of value would be busy living his life, so immersed in his mission that he barely has time to care what she's doing. Silence from him feels powerful because it's paired with absence. It's absolute. But your silence, when polluted by constant monitoring, betrays you. It shows you're not absent. You're still here. You're just too afraid to speak. And there is nothing less attractive to a woman than a man who pretends to be detached while clearly still clinging. Here's the brutal truth. Watching her stories doesn't keep you in her mind. It keeps you in the category of men she doesn't respect, because she sees the contradiction, imposing silence on the front end while begging for crumbs of her attention in the background. And once she files you under not respected, there's no way back. Silence must be clean to work. If you choose to disappear, disappear completely. If you can't, then don't bother. Because a silence filled with desperate surveillance is not silence at all. It's noise. And noise never inspires desire. Silence is not magic. It's not a trick you can copy and paste into every situation. It only carries weight when it comes from a man who has built himself into someone worth missing. Without value, silence is emptiness. Without timing, silence is misread. Without growth, silence is wasted. The truth is simple. A woman doesn't chase silence. She chases power, presence, and the undeniable gravity of a man who knows who he is. If you want silence to work for you, it can't be a mask. It has to be an extension of your strength. It must be backed by discipline, self-respect, and progress. Otherwise, it's not silence. It's nothing. So stop pretending. Stop playing the same tired games she's seen 100 times. Use silence with intention. Use it as a weapon sharpened by growth, timing, and value. And while you're silent, don't wait. Build. Improve. Become. Because when you return as a stronger, more valuable man, your silence won't just be noticed. It will be felt. It will be respected. And it will make her realize what she risks losing. Your silence only has power if you do. Start becoming that man today.